Right on. Well, I think it might be time to get into gaming news. There's one particular story that has just been dominating this week. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. It's that GameStonk.
GameStonk, baby.
GameStop stock has risen thanks to people taking advantage of buying it during the same time hedge fund managers were doing short buys. Holy crap. I'm sure you guys have opinions on this story. I mean, we talked about it a little bit last week. Just, Derrick, you and I were speculating before this whole thing blew up about why the stock was rising. And we thought, well, they had that new board member, which is part of it. People did buy in because of that. But what we didn't realize is that there's this Reddit thread, subreddit called r/Wall Street Bets that, it's a group of just meme and shit posters hanging out. It used to be a little bit more serious. I got into the history of them, and there's definitely a lot more jokers in the group than there used to be. But they heard about hedge fund managers doing short buys on GameStop stock to basically just take it down because it's on its last legs, borrowing these stocks and then selling them, knowing that when they have to return what they borrowed, they can buy the stock for cheaper and then pocket the difference. That's how you do that short buy. But when they found out about it, they went and bought as much as they could. One dude spent like six figures, I think $770,000 on GameStop stock, drove the price way up, and left all these hedge fund billionaires out to dry. So now they have to pay way more money. I think it was like 400%, something dumb.
Yeah.
Something dumb of a margin to buy back the stock that they had to return, and they lost billions. And these folks are not selling. So I'm for it. I don't think that they set out in a crusade to stick it to these guys, but I think it was a happy accident. I mean, I think they were trying to save GameStop, and I think that they were trying to stop these guys. But the way the whole thing blew up and how they all banded together, it was a thing of beauty to me. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, you know me last week. I was like, God damn it, why didn't I get in at $4? Man, because it went up to about $400, man. It was around $400, and it's crazy. It's crazy.
And last I checked, it was still hovering around there, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. It's it just seems to it's extremely volatile. It's going up and down and up and down and up and down. And I don't know how much more research you did into it, but like the Robinhood app, which ironically is Robinhood, steal from the rich, give to the poor.
It's on $312 right now, by the way. That's what the price is right now.
Yeah, this app was actually keeping people from trading GameStop stock unless you were a hedge fund.
Yeah, so that's the other thing about this. That's the other thing about this. These same assholes that are like, the system is a free market, it works for everybody, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, came at these Redditors and a lot of common people with fucking scissors and basically said, and Robinhood was one of the more popular apps to do this, stopped anyone from buying any more GameStop stock. You can only sell, which basically drove the price back down, but they didn't limit the hedge fund managers the same way.
Right.
And it's exposing, I mean, I think we all knew the system was kind of rigged against us for the rich because it's an oligarchy. They use their money and power and influence to buy lawmakers to make laws that favor them, which is why we didn't hear a whole lot of talk about regulation back in 2008 when they made all those bets that tanked the economy. We didn't hear about, regulation when a lot of them knew about the coronavirus and they went in and bought and sold stock that would benefit them during this pandemic where, thousands of people lost their jobs and many lost their lives, and the stock market just kept on rising. No regulation then, but all of a sudden a few Redditors, actually make some money and stop these billionaires from, rigging the system for themselves. That's all you hear about now on CNBC and all these other stations is like, oh, we got to regulate. And then you have some of these same people that own the companies or have sister companies like Robinhood literally rigging the system against us right in front of us. And so you have people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ted Cruz, two of the most unlikely allies ever, who are both saying we need to investigate Robinhood. And I agree. Like, it's one of the rare times I'll agree with a fucking toad like Ted Cruz. But I mean, in this instance, he's right. And so is AOC. Like, these people need to be investigated. And if anything, we need to find out like what their justification is for limiting people from buying stock when they're not limiting the rich and elite from doing the same thing. Furthermore, Wall Street Bets, they had a Discord server that all of a sudden was shut down because they violated their terms on hate speech, which these meme lords were talking about, you know, the R word and cucking and all this other shit for years. They never once regulated that. All of a sudden, right now, they're violating shit and they need to be taken down right around the time they're organizing and taking down Wall Street. A little bit too convenient, if you ask me. So,
jeez.
The whole thing is a hot mess, but it's been kind of fun to watch. I've been sitting back with the popcorn, just watching the drama unfold. I've been thinking about myself getting into investing because of it, but the more I investigate it, the more I feel like this is lightning in a bottle. I don't think this is something that, you know, true stock management, buying and selling takes a lot of research. And actually, there's FAQs and a lot of good stuff on Reddit where you can teach yourself and educate yourself. And if you're interested in day trading, I say go for it because I think it is a viable way to make some cash. But don't treat it like a casino like a lot of these guys on Wall Street buys do. Because, it worked out for them, but they weren't even trying to make money. They were trying to make a statement. They were trying to save a company they liked, and they got lucky that at the same time, these hedge fund managers were trying to kill it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So more on that story as it develops, but in case you were confused or curious about it, that's pretty much the gist of it. I don't know. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, I don't know. I want to hear what Mr. Thugless thought about it.
I've never really been into the stock market. Didn't really know too much about it, but this story did pique my interest because, I mean, you said GameStop, I immediately think video games, and that's what I do, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I got friends that work there too. Yeah, and I started kind of looking into it a little bit, and you kind of educated me a little bit right there, you know? And I gotta say, fuck the short seller dudes.
Yeah. Okay? For real. Because they're tanking companies that are on their last legs. Yeah, they suck.
You're pissed off because somebody beat you. You know, you wanted to do this to make all your money for your little hedge fund or whatever. And a normal person went in there into quote unquote your domain and took something from you. And it's the same thing you've been doing for years, decades. And so to that I say, hail the power of the internet and fuck you guys.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And I hope it's an example of more things to come. I see a lot of promise in the young people of the day rallying together on TikTok, rallying together on Reddit, different places, and changing the world, like getting policy in front of people, educating people, getting political. And I feel like if a revolution is going to come, eventually it's going to be online. It's going to be a lot of these kids using these tools against because these older billionaires, they're not geniuses. They just got in on the right side of the system, learned how to rig it, and they're locked in, right? And they block everybody else from getting up. We've literally seen them doing that this week, right?
Yep.
So these kids are figuring out how to way to use these tools against them, and now they're bucking, talking about regulation and trying to cut them off. But they're going to continue to grow because, unlike myself, I'm like that old millennial that grew up pre-digital age. So I remember what it was like when you couldn't just Google something when you were wondering about it. These kids grew up with all these tools and they're taking them to even further heights, you know, and I'm curious to see what our kids are going to do when they get older and how strong they're going to be with the tools at their disposal. I have high hopes for the future of the youth of the country and the world, really. So, and I think this is just one small example of the kind of damage they can do when they band together. So, you'll love to see it.